Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remember blessed. Whenever you look my video, whenever you watch my video, share the video to all platforms. Share it to family and friends. Share it in your WhatsApp group so that people can get information on what is happening in the contraption called Nigeria, mainly against the Biafrans, against the Duduas, against the indigenous people in the contraption called Nigeria. I try as much as possible to set the record straight. I don't preach hate speech. I don't speak against people. I set the record straight. The only important thing I do here is to make sure that the plight of the people remains on the front burner and the world will know the true story of what is going on in the contraption called Nigeria.
If you let's focus on the APC because that's the issue of our discussion now. Party members are split, even governors, the most influential group within your party. We saw how governors came out issuing statements, making statements, contradicting each other, laying claim to the number, siding Buni and the number with Bello Sani and all that. Is it a contest of governors? Is it a contest for the sale of the APC? Is it a contest of the ticket of the APC for the 2023 presidency?
I do not see them walking out of the way. I didn't see that. None of them had said that His Excellency M.M. Buni did not achieve much in the past 2.5 years. He did his own in reconciliation of the warring factions. He did his best in re-registration, revalidation and registration of the party. That, like in my state, we were about 60,000 by 2014 registration. But today we're over 180,000. For me, it's an achievement. We're in the neighborhood of about 30 million in the whole 30 million in the whole country. Today we are 41 million. So even if in our political calculation, if we concentrate on membership of our party, we win the presidential election. Because if you check the turnout in all the voting process in 1999, it had never been above 35% of all the registered voters.
The problem is
the APC membership alone. So all we need to do is to mobilize. But you know
the problem there.
Our membership.
The problem, as we saw in Anambra, we even saw in President Buhari's presidential primaries in 2019, more APC members voted at the primary level, and perhaps less than a quarter at the main election. That has always been the problem. Perhaps the party has failed to encourage its members who vote during primaries to also turn out on the most important day, the voting day.
It's good you mentioned that. And it's also because I will not come here and lay out all our strategies in the marketplace. Because if I do so, that means I've given the PDP a hammer and a handgun. So I will not come here to lay all our strategies on the marketplace. But what I know is that in all the contending forces, they believe in one thing, that is important, that the Nigerian people should give the APC a chance to consolidate the foundation we have laid in critical infrastructure, in agrarian revolution, in social infrastructure, and all facets. Because it was a decayed country by the time we came in. And it's been difficult to fix because of paucity of funds.
Okay.
So that is our concentration. As Mr. President wrote his letter on Saturday, he said, whatever you converse in, please try to remember the voters, the masses of the country. Where does it impact on their life? You can go ahead to backstab, infighting, this and that, but please bear the Nigerian masses at heart.
Okay.
Because under the new electoral law, the powers are returned to the voters.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we have to see the voter have more opportunity to really pick their leaders. But those that went after the caretaker committee, Buni and Abanudo, what do you think was their motive?
No, they didn't go after anybody. All they were canvassing, if I understand, unless I'm mistaken, is that let the convention hold. That has been postponed severally, and there was no need for that. I well agree that the convention should hold on the 2-6 March. So that's a common ground. So there's no canvas anymore.
Well, what they said was that there was this court order restraining APC from organizing that convention as far back as November 2021, that the caretaker committee got that court order and hid it. in their files and was waiting to flash it close to the convention to frustrate that convention. And the allegation against Buni was that he has been behind the delays and the postponement, and the ultimate ambition is to ensure that he sees over the convention and the presidential primaries.
But at the end of the day, everybody had agreed that the convention had to hold on March 26. And after with that agreement, is there any other bickering you are talking about? If anybody is in court, the party had issued its own position that if you in court to obstruct the party's movement, please withdraw the case. And believe me and you, before the 26 March, all those cases will be withdrawn or acquitted. These are the judiciary is doing its own job. If I wake up after this program, I go to the court will receive whatever petition I come with. And the rest, as the lawyers will say, the subject of the matter is that there will be a convention. Now everybody had agreed that there will be a convention. I don't see anybody blocking that.
But the matter was, who sees over the convention? But till INEC later, it was almost certain that Sani Bello was going to sit over the convention till the INEC later came.
From all that I heard from His Excellency Sani Bello, he had always said, I'm an acting chairman. I never heard him say that Buni is no more the chairman of the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee. I never heard him say so. He had always said acting. And when you're acting, it means that there's a main chairman who is there. So if anybody says what His Excellency, the Governor of Niger State did not say, or what His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir Rufai, said, that is different from the fact that they wanted a convention. And we all agree on that. It's a consensus that let's do the convention so that the new National Working Committee will have few days before they start planning on how to do the primaries. You have primaries, chains of primaries.
You have about 2 months or so.
2 months, but so you must get rid of that.
On March 26th?
But luckily,
less than 2 months, actually.
Luckily for us, when Mr. President wrote back late last year and said, let it not be only direct primaries. Let there be indirect primaries added and consensus. So knowing my party, the APC, we might reconcile some of these issues through consensus.
That's what we saw in the past. The previous chairmen have been selected based on consensus. But this one appears to be a bit problematic. I've seen aspirants have said, consensus or no consensus, they are going to contest. Of course, purchase of form started yesterday. That's on Tuesday, and about 2 or so. Salu, he was the first to pick, and I think Senator Sani also. So we may likely see a contest this time around.
What I'm saying is that the settled matter is that there will be a convention on 26th of March. Whoever bought form now, it doesn't mean he cannot support somebody. I do not see all of them if the issue of consensus comes on the table. We are not, it's only one slot that is the national chairman. The other slot is the national secretary and others. And I do not see anybody who will say that the party's China shop should be broken down because it must be a chairman at all costs. I don't. All of them are gentlemen, the way I know them. And I don't see any of them, if the issue of consensus comes on the strong table, that will say, no, it's a do or die matter. We're not talking like His Excellency Atiku Abubakar.
It's just that some people have said, is the consensus the APC is planning, is it as dictated by the president? Because there's already a list said to have been signed by the president endorsing someone. Or is it a consensus agreed upon by major stakeholders of the party?
Even in your household, before your kids go back to school, there's always a meeting in house with your children. How they will go, what you will meet up with out of their litany of lists. That is a nuclear family. We in the APC we also work in that manner. There will be meetings and meetings. And spirit argument will prevail. and who stands a better position to unite our party, to mobilize us, and get all the polling units at work so that we do not have any crisis in the general election that is coming early next year. I think that is our major concern. We've gone through that electoral act and we see how tedious it is, that it is something, as you said, that even the Global Democracy Report last year stated that worldwide there have been recession in democracy and there have been low turnout of voters. So we are looking into that issue. How do we get our membership and our supporters back to the polling booth? We're more bothered about that than who becomes the chairman of this APC Enugu State, who becomes the chairman of APC at Abuja. We're more concerned about the battle that is raging, and that is the polling unit battle.
That's the ultimate battle. The
ultimate battle. That's our concern today. That the election in Anambra, the one in Abuja, almost about 10% turnout. Is it the best for democracy? So I think is where we are concerned about. How do we mobilize our supporters? How do we mobilize our membership and the voters to tell them that the vote now, the power is now in your hands. Decide who goes. Decide who is dropped. And that we have done so well within the little resources in our disposal. We know the challenges and we know why the challenges are there.
Let's go on a break now. When we come back, more issues to dwell on. Please do stay with us.
Did you know that AIT's social media handles have all changed? If you are one of the millions of our followers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, this is introducing to you AIT's new official and rebranded social media handles. Like or follow us now on our Facebook page, Official AIT Live. If you're on Twitter, switch to our new handle at Official AIT Live and activate the notification button to get breaking news and updates on the go. For exclusive short videos and photo news, follow our Instagram account at Official AIT Live. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official AIT Live, and enjoy live streaming of news and your favorite programs, where you can also watch our broadcast materials at your own convenience. Note that Official AIT Live is the only authentic social media profile name with all the handles on our website ait.live with a notification prompt to accept and receive breaking news and updates on the go. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube platforms on your smartphone, tablet device, laptop, and desktop to follow us now. AIT.live. On air, online, online.
Thank you so much for staying with us. My guest is Osto Okechukwu, who have been looking at the leadership tussle within the All Progressives Congress, APC. The party is getting set for a National Executive Committee meeting, still uncertain whether it will hold, but more certain is the planned convention of the party scheduled for March 26th. That's just some days away. Now, let's get back to our discourse now. A lot of people have interrogated the role of the president within the affairs of your party. Some reached the conclusion that he stays outside and monitors, not showing adequate interest. That is only late minute that he decided to wield his power and influence and chart the direction and take charge. That his absence and perhaps not too much interest on the party may have provided, giving fertile ground for these squabbles and tussles we are seeing within that party. To what extent is this true?
It seems there's a paradox here. On one hand, Mr. President, you delegates powers. On the other hand, he's now in charge. We don't know where to go from there. Or are you saying that the vehicle, the political party that brought Mr. President to power, that Mr. President, because he's not going to contest the election in 2023, is not going to be interested in the health of that political party? I think what Mr. President is doing is what he's supposed to do. That when we finish all the works, we say, Mr. President, this is direction. And if it's a direction that he doesn't think that is the best for the country, because for him the country comes first. He was trained to look at the country as number one. The party comes second. So I do not see him overbearing in any manner or trying to micromanage the APC. No. Nobody.
The initial accusation was that he was disinterested in APC affairs.
Oh, he is. The only thing he said is that the membership should mobilize funds to manage the party. That the money he has for fiscal infrastructure, railroad, is not for the party. That the membership should contribute money. That's why some people are now saying, oh, why is the chairman, the money for the fee for going for the chairmanship 20 million? It is because Mr. President said he's not going to use state funds to fund the APC. That the membership and those who want to contest offices should provide the money to manage the convention. That's why it's 20 million. That of secretary, deputy national chairman, 10 million. The rest 5, some 1 million. Collectively, the money is to manage the convention. Instead of putting his hand in the treasury of the federal government of Nigeria, that is facing a lot of challenges, Mr. President said no. That the best is that the party's membership should contribute money for running of the party. So that is not being aloof. He's trying to look at the meager resources on the table, that you need to provide electricity, you need to provide roads.
Not necessarily to
address
issue of funding, but issue of taking hold of the party as it were, as a national leader. Yes, the party has a leader. There's a claim to the leadership of the party by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but some people have said, in practice and in real terms, the leader of the party should be the president, and that the president has not really lived up to expectation as the leader of the party. That why crisis festers, he doesn't really show interest till last minute when it has perhaps boomerang. That's the accusation.
It might be, for me, is a misrepresentation of facts. One, we are witnesses how Chief Solomon Lar in 1999 led the PDP to presidential victory. And before he could finish jubilating for the victory, he was swept off late December 1999. Another chairman was enthroned. One day the man was also at gunpoint, told to leave. He came to Awudobwe. He came to his house. The then president came to his house. That he wanted pounded yam. So the wife was busy jubilating that the president, the big guest, is in the house. He finished with Awudobwe. The next thing is that the man was told to resign. He wanted the president to behave that way. That's not Buhari we know. That's not his character. If you are given an appointment, he wants you to be diligent with how you manage your affairs.
Governors in your party, El-Rufai, to be specific, Akeredolu, also to be specific, said the president gave a marching order that Buni be replaced. They are describing the action of the president to fall in line with what Obasanjo also did, unilaterally deciding the fate of the party chairman.
For you, that is the kernel of the discussion with Mr. President. But for me, that is not. What concerns me is that the President held a meeting with leadership of the party and agreed specifically on zoning. Where today, we are no more in a haze like the PDP on the president coming from the south. That's leadership. The issue about offices is immaterial for me and infinitesimal. And who becomes national chairman is important, yes. But that's not the main issue. The main issue is that the president had helped the party to design the way forward. I told the Nigerian people that APC presidential candidate is coming from the south that want to obey the zoning convention. Unlike the PDP, white is in their
why are you concerned about development?
They want to breach it. You don't want me to talk about our sister party?
No, the issue here is
there must be a comparison.
Yes, if we want to talk about PDP, we'll get a PDP person to balance.
Please call me back. Call me back.
Plan to
call me back.
But the question I put to you is the decision of the president as reported by leading members, a very crucial, important
what
members
they reported,
of the party, that he unilaterally ordered the removal of the party chairman. And you try to draw analogy from what happened in the past, and I'm asking, are they not in tandem?
No. What you forget as well is that Mr. President is the one that runs a collective management of power. There's an attorney general, for instance. Are you saying Mr. President will take a decision without consulting the chief law officer of the country? He take decision without consulting the secretary to government of the federation, his own chief of staff, and other ministers, governors. So if you say he goes out of his way to take decisions alone, I would say that's not the Buhari I know. And that is not the position. He has a chief law officer by his side. Even the day
who is not a party, part of the party apparatchik at his well.
No,
the Attorney General is just a member of the party, as it were. If there are consultations as to the status of a party leadership, you have the Governors Forum, you have the caretaker committee, you have other organs of the party. Are they not the ones the president should have consulted, and together they take a decision?
What I'm saying is that I know that as small as some of us are, sometimes Mr. President calls us in for one or two issues, and I know he constantly calls most of them. I do not see anybody who is missing in the pack. But as I'm telling you, Mr. President listens. You can talk with him for 1.5 hours. He might not object. That's him. So if he calls the Attorney General of the Federation, Elijah Baka Malame, and says, Senior Counsel, I know this is a bit, but what do you think about the position of the APC? Vis-a-vis this or that?
Should he consult the Attorney General or the legal advice of the APC? Because Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice is to the federal government, not to the APC. APC has a legal advisor. In terms of legal issues, is he not the right person to defer to here on the part of the president?
There's what we call combination factors. If you are somebody who is used to consultation, you do not end where you stop. Especially, we're entering a very serious period. A 2 month period that will produce hundreds of House of Assembly candidates. Hundreds. Tens of senators across the federation. Tens of governorship candidates and the presidential candidate. And if you are consulting your president, you will limit yourself because you like Osito Okechukwu. After talking with Osito Okechukwu, you don't want to talk to Mr. Ade, you don't want to talk to Mr. Musa. I don't think anybody does that. And that's not President Mohammadu Buhari. He does not limit his searchlight. At the end of the day, it comes to the spirit argument. When he returned the Electoral Act bill to the National Assembly, is it not good that the expansion from direct primaries to indirect and consensus, so that each party goes out of its way to use whichever method or modality that suits the membership and the leadership? Is it not spirit argument? Whether you are the Attorney General of the Federation, first and foremost, Abaka Malame is a member of the APC. A foundation member at that matter. So to consult him is not out of the place. That doesn't mean he's the only lawyer.
Yes, absolutely. Privately and unofficially, the president can consult him. It's just that some other key members also said they were not aware of such consultations to get the Buni leadership out. Some governors have said if a meeting held, there were reports that meeting held at the Villa, they were not part of it. And these are also critical members of the APC.
Don't forget that we have the Governors Forum with a chairman, His Excellency. So when do you have a Governors Forum?
As a governor of
KB State.
Okay.
Alaya Baka Bagudu.
Bagudu, yeah.
And nobody can call him a small boy either. He was a successful businessman and was also in the Senate. I came to become the governor of KB State and the chairman of APC Governors Forum. For God's sake, who must give honor to whom honor is due? If he calls the APC governors forum and say, we are going to this item, that item, and they finish and they select few to meet Mr. President and present the position of the APC governors forum. For God's sake.
That's where the difference lies. Select few, because you mentioned Bagudu, the governor of Kebbi State. Badaru, governor of Jigawa State, has also been named. There's one other governor. You also mentioned Abubakar Malami, the Attorney General, and Buni himself. Some persons have accused them of forming a clique, that most times they are going to have a meeting with the president, they go in unison, that this clique appear to have hijacked the organs of the party, and between them and the president, once they consult the president, they come out to make an announcement on behalf of the party. What does that tell you? What does that speak of? Level of consultations the president engages in.
But you agree that there's Progressive Governors Forum?
Absolutely.
Great. So, whatever is decided by the Progressive Governors Forum, so governors have issues to settle in their state, they might be going home after the meeting. Gentlemen, I could not stay here till tomorrow for us to meet Mr. President. Please, present our matter the way we presented it. That's the resolution of the party, or the Progressive Governors Forum. For God's sake, even in my church, is it I will not pay my tithes because I wasn't part of the meeting of the Catholic priests, the catechists, and the leadership of the church? They say he who talks to organization talks to oligarchy. There must be very few that will meet with our Reverend Father. And then the next day in the church, they will announce that this is what the parish is going to do. I will raise my hand and say, no, Father, I wasn't in the meeting. Haba. Does it go that way?
But they have a right. Decisions taken without their contribution, they have a right to differ. But the APC Governors Forum, the number is not much for the president to have a meeting with.
No, what I'm saying,
as a whole,
as of now, a consensus had been reached that March 26, 2022 is going to be the convention date of the APC to produce its National Working Committee, so that the issue of His Excellency Buni and co, the era will go. But as I said, no member of the APC, unless he has an axe to grind with His Excellency Buni, will use black brush to tie his achievements. It's not possible. And no member of the APC will look at all that His Excellency Nasir Rufai said and say, oh, it's jazz. So these are combinations. I said what we are in is a synthesis. But we have come from antithesis to synthesis. And that synthesis that everybody now is focusing on the convention. The last they called me from my state is, oh, we're not part of the national convention. I said, which convention? They said the March 26th. I said, thank God. Both from the grassroots, they have agreed as a date. That's all. So with that date in mind, we the media
date now
after the convention, in
spite of all the other dates that they didn't hold, this one is sacrosanct. That's what
it is,
and it must surely come to pass.
It will.
But there's a concern, and that's
even I met His Excellency, the governor of Kano State yesterday at the party secretariat. I said, Your Excellency, what's going on? He said because he has the accreditation committee, they've already started training the ushers. So, which shows a high preparatory speed and tempo. So, when that tempo is there,
high, you call it high. When the party started selling nomination forms, few days to the convention, does that also qualify as high tempo?
What's today's date?
This is 16. The party started selling nomination forms
and the election is holding well.
15 days to the convention. Does that suggest high tempo?
No. Whatever, those who were canvassing for chairmanship and secretary had for a long time started cross-cruising the country with billboards and everything. So all they were waiting is for that whistle, and the whistle had blown. And we are still going to be meeting with them. That, gentlemen, it's important you people should meet, If you can meet on your own and give us a candidate in manner of consensus, too good for the party. Nobody wants to fight. We don't want a divided house, because divided you fall and united you stand. So the party is mature enough to know what they have to do. And don't forget that Mr. President has written the party. Every membership has a copy of his statement. Please stop backbiting, stop fighting, unite the party so that we could be sure of victory.
Now, the concern, as they're selling forms now, 20 million is a whole, is much. It's a whole lot of money. At a time, consensus may likely be the method, because from history, APC has always picked its membership of National Working Committee, especially the chairman, by consensus. And some of the candidates, aspirants have said, whether a purported, they said, president's endorsement of a particular candidate or not, they will go into contest. I don't know how the party will manage all this in such a way that if there's going to be a consensus, it will be a consensus that is a product of widespread consultation and not imposition.
We cannot be different from the liberal democracy throughout history. We'll adopt the same method: lobbying, horse trading, persuasion. This is why this man had better qualities than you. All of you are not going to be chairman. It's only one person who is going to be chairman.
Absolutely.
So, the same method that is done all over the world: persuasion, lobby. Please put the party's interests ahead. Yes, if you become a chairman, this is the minus on your side. Please consider it. That's what we're going to do in the days ahead, so that by 26th we will come by a final resolution of who flies the flag for us as the chairman of the party.
Okay, at the beginning of this program, you said APC's whoever to be presidential candidate will have a 60% chance of winning that election.
Minimum of 60%.
Okay, it can even be much more than.
Oh, yes.
Let's interrogate that a bit. What's the basis for this, your conclusion?
The basis is that, first and foremost, we have governors in 22 states of the Federation and deputy governor as of yesterday in Anambra.
Is that enough? Because in 2015, PDP had more governors, yet still they lost.
You know why they lost? Why they lost is why they are going to lose this one again. They breached the zoning convention, a convention that brings sense of belonging, that obeys equity, natural justice, and good conscience. Anytime you breach it, in the distributive curve of the votes all over the world, the whole political parties that we have in place, registered political parties, our membership is not up to 30 or 40% of the voting population. So if you hear that the INEC are registered 80 million Nigerian voters, the APC down the line and other 18 political parties were not up to 40% of that voting index. And among them are good people who will tell you, oh, since everybody said you should go south, why did you go north? Because for those who are insisting on the north, they forgot that the north is one of the most sophisticated voters in the country. They have voted Abiola against late Alhaji Tofa.
Absolutely, yeah.
The north are sophisticated. Anybody who is banking on the north because and they want to breach the voting, the zoning convention, you get it wrong.
Is micro zoning an issue for APC? Yes, we've seen the zoning arrangement. Places will be swapped between the north and the south. Is there a place for micro zoning?
No, we are not talking about micro zoning. What some of us are saying, for instance, is that now that the APC had agreed that the presidential candidate should come to the south, that our brothers in the southwest should consider the fact that since we returned to democracy in 1999, they have been president for 8 years and they have been vice president for 8 years. That if you take, let your brother take. That is the turn of Nibo. That will give us a sense of belonging. Obey the doctrine of equity, natural justice, and good conscience. Even if you don't want to pick from the southeast, please, we have Igbos in Delta, we have Igbos in Rivers. Go there, it's okay with us.
That's another issue now.
So that we're part of the
Ndibo, the Southeast geopolitical zone, because a lot of
I'm not the type that is
zoning is on the basis of geopolitical zone and not on ethnicity or religion.
No, it has also. Don't forget that one of the cardinal voting index in Nigeria as of today is ethnicity. Religion second, issues third. Let's
but for
not shy away
politics,
from
the
that.
sixth geopolitical zone is widely accepted.
No, but what I'm saying,
for allocation and share.
I'm not one of those. If you do it in terms of preference, yes, Osito Okechukwu would like to be the presidential candidate.
You're eminently qualified.
Second one, the Southeast. The third one, any Igbo man that is around the matrix. It's okay with me. That's my position.
Okay, we'll leave it there, and only time will tell the chances of your party ahead of the election. But we wish you well.
Minimum of 60%.
60%.
Yes.
Okay, perhaps after the election we may have an opportunity to.
We pray to be alive.
Definitely.
All the indices, all the variables are there in our favor.
That's it for today. Okechukwu is a founding member of the APC. He was right there at the negotiations to put the party.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We'll kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.